to you by Budweiser, the king of beers. Reach for that distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you. Brought to you by Viva Paper Towels. Viva can sponge up your drippiest drips, sponge up your sloppiest spills. Viva, the paper towel that's really a paper sponge.
And the first of our many beautiful antique circus wagons for today in the Great Circus Parade is this one, pulled by a hitch of 8 sturdy Belgian horses. And for those of you who have had the pleasure of a trip to France, here's a pleasant reminder in one of the most graceful wagons ever built. It is a beauty. Constructed in 1905, the stunning gold wood carvings on the sides of the Swan bandwagon were inspired by the stone statuary in the fountains of the magnificent Palace of Versailles. And this ought to get a great reaction today from the crowds, because here in Milwaukee, of course, celebrating Bastille Day. You know, circus bandwagons were designed to carry circus bands, of course, in parades. That's just what they're doing. We have 18 musicians up there from Baraboo, Wisconsin, directed by Professor Gerald Stitch.
We should have a musical fanfare for the celebrity riding in Vernon Albert's vintage carriage. The gentleman is Merle Evans. For 50 years, the bandmaster of Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. And he's the only person with us today who has appeared in daily circus parades for over 65 years.
I think he's having as good a time today as he did 65 years ago. Look at him.
I agree with you. There he is, Merle Evans.
Going way back in English history, here's the mounted court of Queen Elizabeth, all in elaborate costumes of the era. With the Queen, of course, there's handsome, gallant Sir Walter Raleigh. We all know the story, how he spread his cape over a mud puddle as the Queen approached and uttered that immortal phrase, "Step on it, Queen," or something like that. I'm not good at immortal phrases. I have a feeling we're going to see some great colors here. Look at that. Even the horses appear to be enjoying themselves.
They do.
Now, coming up is a marching band, and believe me, you're going to see plenty of them and hear plenty of great music today, because there are 16 marching bands in today's parade. This band is the Dundee Crown High School Band of Carpentersville, Illinois. Bagpipes?
I think you do.
Superstation WTBS is bringing you the Great Circus Parade here in Milwaukee. It's the first time a parade has ever been presented in stereo sound. So be careful, Sam, if you make a mistake, it's counted twice against us. And friends, if you're enjoying the show, please let the good folks at WTBS hear from you. They'll all be waiting anxiously at their mail. I think Mr. Turner's down at his right now, for a mailgram.
Well, snakes alive. That's what crowds might have guessed watching this unusual snake-skin wagon at a Ringling Brothers parade in the turn of the century. The wood-carved girls, snake snakes wound around their bodies. And in those days, a lovely snake charmer sat behind the plate glass side, handling enormous reptiles.
Ooh, that scares me thinking about that. Actually, I understand it's very easy to charm snakes. You just have to let them know that you are not afraid of them. That's the key right there.
Well, I guess I could never charm a snake.
You could charm anything, Donna, don't worry. Look at that. You know, even in a parade which doesn't feature a mechanical apparatus very much, occasionally we get a little stoppage here. You know, horses have to rest too. It's a long parade. We haven't had a count of the animals, but they are all beautiful. And look at that. I think they're counting right now. In the entertainment world, there are small stars and big stars, and now you're meeting 8 of the very biggest, these famous Clydesdales from Anheuser-Busch.
Well, just how big are they?
Glad you asked that. I've done some research. 2,000 pounds apiece. They stand 6 feet high. Now, if you're a real horse lover and want to take one out to dinner, they'll eat 30 quarts of choice feed, 60 pounds of fine hay, and they'll drink 30 gallons of vintage water, and they never pick up the check either. It's terrible as a dinner date, but they're beautiful animals to see in a parade. Well, down through the years, circuses would come and go, like the Greater Norris and Row. That became the Lesser Norris and Row about 1910. And here's a charming relic of a street parade called a tally-ho wagon, which they actually used for their circus band. By the way, they found this vehicle in San Francisco in 1961 in a collection there, and here it is in the circus parade.
Here we have the Grafton High School Blackhawks from Grafton, Wisconsin.
Now, we'll be quiet and let them do the work. What is a circus parade without clowns? You'll see lots of them today. To put on a big event like the Great Circus Parade, but it's literally true that it couldn't be done without the guiding force of one man. That's our genial genius here in Milwaukee, Ben Barkin. Ben does a lot of everything, from picking up sandwiches for his office staff to raising millions of dollars for parade sponsors. So, from us and our staff and people all over America enjoying the show, our sincerest thanks. By the way, Ben, if you stop by Jake Skeleton's house, could you pick up a pastrami and rye for Anna and me? Thank you very much. Boy, this is a beauty coming up. Pulled by 6 beautiful Belgian horses, here's one of the most magnificent wagons in the Great Circus Parade. It's called a telescoping tableau wagon because the stunning group of gold figures is mechanically raised and lowered into the body of the wagon. This dates back to the 1860s in England. Its superb gold and wood sculptures really belong in a museum, and of course, well, that's where it is, because you can see it at the Circus World at Baraboo, Wisconsin. So what they do is crank that top down and then get under those low-hanging branches, other obstacles, none of which are along the parade route, I'm happy to say.
Look what we have here, a combination tableau and cage wagon that's literally a moving work of art. There's a painted side that can be removed to reveal the wild animal inside.
What's in there now, do you reckon?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe we can hear it if we listen.
I don't know. I'll go put my ear to it.
Sometimes these cage wagons were kept completely covered during a parade to let the crowd's imagination run wild about what was making those amazing sounds.
So, folks at home, you let your imaginations run wild and let us know what's in there, okay? Sounds like a duck to me, actually. Now, for you youngsters watching, here's a real treat in our great circus parade from Milwaukee. These 8 cute ponies driven by their owner, Otis Rupp of Streator, Illinois. The antique bandwagon they're pulling is a colorful reminder that circuses have always been popular in continental Europe. In fact, even today, some of the best circus acts originate there. Way back before World War I, the Royal Italian Circus visited England and played throughout the country. Now we're going to fast forward to today, and we have music up there by Hal Edwards' lively band of musicians. By 6 mighty Percherons, here's a handsome Sells Floto den wagon showing its wild animals. Today there are 3 real live Royal Bengal tigers in the cages. And look at those guys. Are they guys? I don't know. And I'm happy to announce there's a real iron bars, too. This one is a working wagon with a chute down one side so the animals could be moved right into the big cage during the show. Anna will get you in there with a whip, and I think you'll do well.
Well, I need an insurance policy in my pocket, too.
Thank you, Gunther Gable White. We need peanuts. We don't have any peanuts.
We'll get you some. Many of the old circuses had special sections in their parades for children. Naturally pulled by ponies, this Gold Beauty shows the old nursery rhyme of the old woman who lived in a shoe. Remember? She had so many children she didn't know what to do, so she spanked them all soundly and put them to bed.
And invited over her boyfriend named Fred.
No, I don't think that's right.
I don't remember my nursery rhymes. I'm sorry. That's cute, though. I like that.
Yeah, that brings back some nice memories. Here we have the lake band of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and it's a combined band. Got a great sounding combination.
If a painting problem has you stumped, let the...
After the great days of tent circuses, are wondering just what was a circus parade?
Well, believe it or not, it was the most effective form of advertising ever conceived by man.
Are you listening, Madison Avenue?
No, probably not. But as the old-time circus press agents put it, the parade enticed townspeople to the showgrounds with sights, smells, and sounds of a tented city too great to resist.
It was a colorful pageant, a winding, dazzling river of gold and silver.
A river, hey? An immense cavalcade of costly trappings, a caravan of princely wealth.
Triumphant floats and barges. The splendor of their gorgeous and colossal carriages, baffling description.
I can top that. Floods of music, glittering sights of joy, a mile of gleaming, golden, glinting, glistening glamour.
Well, why go on?
Good question.
Let's see for yourself.
Right. This unusual and exotic temple tableau wagon thrilled English crowds watching the parade of the once famous...
From jolly old England, this glorious wagon called the Star Tableau from their oldest circus. If your eyes aren't too dazzled by the amazing colors and decorations, you'll see it gets that name from the arch of 7 stars in the lowest tier. During a parade, a lovely lady performer always sat on that special dragon chair.
Those of you who joined us will be interested to know that this is a great circus parade in Milwaukee, and it is really an all-community affair. And this spectacular bandwagon, pulled by 8 powerful Belgian horses, was built in 1971 by the Joseph Schlitz Brewing Company, who sponsored the parade for 11 years. The magnificent wood carvings on the wagon are by William Thalmeyer of Waukesha, Wisconsin.
And silver, a unique color combination on this cage wagon, originally from Hal's Great London Circus of 1920. It's possible you might have seen this beauty before because it was used in several Hollywood movies.
What were some of those movies?
Oh, I don't know. I have to look that up.
All right, I just thought I'd ask.
Ooh, look at that. Whew.
Wow, Wow, look.
That's a leopard.
It is. I recognize him by his spots. I remember my leopard classes in school. He looks upset about something. I don't know. Is it my imagination? Wow. By the way, riding on top of that wagon was Harry Blackstone Jr., the very famous magician. Now, this is called a beauty tableau for obvious reasons, and those beauties on the sides and ends are fine examples of the American woodcarver's art. Originally built in the 1890s, it was completely restored at the Circus World Museum. You know, Van, it's not easy using modern-day power tools to restore these beautiful carvings because they were done by hand originally.
So why do they use power tools?
You're getting even for me for asking the question about which movies, huh? I want to be a clown.
Do you? There's a clown right there.
That looks like it. How could you ask for more fun? You dress up, you wave at kids, they smile back at you. Somebody must have just said, giddy up.
Now here is, coming up I should say, the Baraboo High School Band from the home of the Circus World Museum.
And there they are, sounding good.
This tableau wagon gets its name from the diamond-shaped painting of a lion and lioness on one side, and on the other, a snarling tiger. Notice the decorations on all circus wagons include fancy, colorful wheels. And if you listen closely, you can hear their unique grinding sounds. There were special companies that made only circus wagon wheels.
Wagon Wheels are us. I've been there. It's a very small chain. Now, I have a question for you. The stilt walking clown. How does he get up on those tall stilts?
What I want to know is how he puts on those long pants.
Much better question. This is interesting. This is a unique chimes wagon. This is from the famous Toll Brothers Circus of days gone by. Inside, there's a musical instrument called the shaker chimes, and each one is shaken individually by the musician. In this case, we're talking about Ira Perry, and that will produce that musical sound. And we'll watch Ira at work and watch the Toll Brothers Circus wagon go by. There are those chimes we're talking about. Looks like a lot of them that play there. I
Yes,
guess
it
each
does.
one makes its own sound, and Ira seems to know what he's doing.
Listen, you can hear it.
To circus fans during the early 1900s, Australia was a far-off, little-known continent. And so this wagon and its charming painting of kangaroos whetted their appetites about the strange fauna and flora and wildlife down under. However, the bad news is there usually weren't kangaroos inside. And I don't think there are in this case. Seem to get a good view of the parade from up there, you know?
biggest and best bandwagons here because it takes 8 powerful Percheron horses to pull it. A stunning red and gold tableau is Salute Great Britain with a 24-carat John Bull on the side. It was actually built in Cincinnati in 1910. That's fine music, too, from the 15 bandmen on top, led by Lee Matthews.
A little trivia, if you're interested, the late Harry James, the great band leader, was the son of a circus band leader, and Harry actually grew up playing trumpet on just such a wagon.
A fine group of equestrians from the Wisconsin Quarter Horse Association.
An interesting international combination of 4 Norwegian fjord horses pulling an authentic British Royal Mail coach now. Like all such coaches, it not only carried mail, but also passengers, as we see here, wearing vintage English costumes. And after the British government retired it, the circus people acquired it. And here it is, in Milwaukee.
Now one of the most ornate cage wagons from the Circus World Museum. The highly decorated framework with scalloped edges creates the appearance of 2 moving picture frames. And completing the pictures are 2 mighty African lions. Ooh.
Rolling along. Get it? Why, look. That looks like just one of the clowns in the parade, huh? And an aerialist back here, you'd think. No, no, no. Au contraire, we have Ernest Borgnine and his lovely wife, Tova. How are you, Ernie?
Well, I want to tell you, we are having the time of our lives.
A logical question. Why is Ernest Borgnine dressed up like a clown?
Are you kidding? Who wouldn't want to be dressed up as a clown today? This is the most magnificent parade we've ever been in.
Yeah, you look great. Now, have you ever been an aerialist? You've never done any of this stuff, have you, Tova?
If you're going to be an aerialist and dressed in a Bob Mackie creation, let's face it, it's the best. I tell you, I've become 2 years old since Thursday. We have had more fun. This Ben Barkin has created the magic of all, for all ages.
You can't help but turn into a kid. Ernie, you look too good to stand here and talk. Get out there and entertain those kids along the parade route.
Sure will.
Ernest
Thank you for
Borgnine and
stopping
Tova.
by.
Thanks, Ernie.
Great.
Boy, look good, huh?
Yes, what fun, huh?
And this is the Lighthouse Brigade Marching Band from Racine, Wisconsin.
You're in the lobby? No, you're not too early.
When you don't have much time to dust, reach for Stretch and Dust, a unique one-step dusting cloth. Stretch it and look. Thousands of tiny fibers pop up to grab dust. And hold on to it. The dust goes into the cloth. And Stretch and Dust leaves a light, natural luster. No fuss with sprays.
What took you so long?
Disposable Stretch and Dust. Picks up dust and leaves the shine. In one step.
Van Boxtel is Wisconsin's largest selling dealer of Ford cars, and we like being number 1. That's why I challenged our sales staff to sell 100 new Escorts before the end of July. The Escort 100, we'll call it. Won't be easy, but if we're number 1, it can be done. With Escort prices as low as $59.90 and over $160 to choose from. The Escort 100, best-selling cars from the largest selling dealer, priced just the way you want them, low. That's Van Boxtel Ford, AMC Jeep, Renault, and Green Bay.
This is a Rose sofa, quality build. It even has a limited lifetime construction guarantee. This week you can purchase it for only $54 a month, 0% interest, 12 months, $54 and it's yours. And that's not all. It's a queen-size sleeper too, and that's not all. It has a Serta Perfect Sleeper innerspring mattress, all for $54 a month, 0% interest. And that's not all, because when you buy the Rose sofa sleeper, American includes the matching love seat. You get it all, $54 a month, no interest at all for a year at American.
This year, drunk drivers will seriously injure nearly 1 million people, and that makes me mad.
long float that once rolled along in the children's section of the Great Circus Parade. It was built for the Barnum and Bailey Circus in the mid-1880s. It recreates in gold that thrilling moment when Cinderella waits breathlessly as her Prince Charming kneels to find out if the famous last slipper fits her dainty foot.
What if it doesn't fit?
Of course it'll fit. Fairy tales always have happy endings.
I never thought of that. Roll to the lions. That was a command common by Roman emperors. What a sad thought. Nevertheless, this was the typical scene that followed as depicted on this famous lion and gladiator wagon from Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. It was built around 1910. In old circus days, this rich red and gold beauty might have carried a troupe of Chinese acrobats or a clown band. The riders today are all real working performers, by the way, including master clown Frosty Little, who does a hilarious act around here with his dog Sky.
A fine, handsome carriage fit for royalty. In this case, circus royalty. Mr. Kenneth Feld, president and producer of Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, with his wife Bonnie and 3 lovely daughters. They're obviously enjoying themselves. And just before the start, we asked Mr. Feld why parades like this faded from the circus scene.
Today, Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey Circus has a parade, but we use it by getting our animals from the train to the arena. In the old days, a parade such as this was really a substitute for television advertising, which of course they didn't have. So it's fantastic that my whole family can participate in this recreation of circus history.
Been around circuses for a long time, and they're still having a great time. You folks at home, drop everything now and watch one of the most famous of all circus attractions, the Bell Wagon, also known in old circus hype as the Mighty Bells from Moscow's Kremlin. One of the first parade wagons ever bought by the newly established Ringling Brothers Circus back in 1892. It has 9 enormous bronze bells, and boy, you can hear them here. They weigh more than 4,000 pounds, and the sound can be heard from many blocks away. And when you're many feet away as we, you can also hear them very plainly. The bell ringer sits at the rear of the wagon using 9 spring-loaded levers that release the clappers and strike the bells.
It's interesting that circuses with their daring performers and ferocious animals also gave a lot of attention to nursery rhymes and fairy tales. On one side of the wagon features Little Red Riding Hood, and the other, Peter Pumpkin Eater.
Put his life in a pumpkin shell.
And there he kept her very well. Coming to life on the top are the 3 bears, the cat in the fiddle, and Little Jack Horner.
And he put his thumb in the plum or something. I'm getting better at the fairy tales. Riding up now to save the day is the Madres Light Cavalry Troop. These fine horsemen come from Baraboo and other cities of Wisconsin. I understand the very first cavalry troops were used by the ancient Egyptians, and the last ones appeared only briefly at the beginning of World War II. Now they thrive, I think, only in insurance commercials. Just waiting for someone to say charge, like a good cavalry troop should. Yeah, that's what this parade's all about. The kids having a great day in Milwaukee.
Looks like a lot of people are having a great day here.
I think that's because we're all kids, that's why. At home, wave back.
gentleman driving this carriage, Mr. A.M. Stubb Johnson of Spencer, Iowa. Stubb claims anybody can hitch up horses, so why not these 4 llamas? Look at that. Makes sense to me. High in the Andes Mountains, they're as strong and useful as any other kind of beast of burden. The question is, how do you tell the difference between a papa llama and a mama llama?
I think you have to ask Stubb. They're doing a nice job, those llamas. Coming up now, the Brookfield Central High School Lancers Band from Brookfield, Wisconsin, 70 members strong.
Dinner ready?
What'll I make?
Not plain hamburger again.
In Milwaukee, it also has some unique and exciting sounds.
Right. For instance, the sound of as many as 32 horses' hooves flopping on the pavement.
And those wagon wheels, they have a lateral motion when turning on the tapered axle that makes it a deep-throated knocking sound.
Plus chimes and bells and special wagons, and of course, the raucous music of the calliope, as the circus people pronounce it. Be sure to brace yourself, though, for that last one. It's the big one.
But have you noticed there is one sound completely missing from this parade?
And what a nice change, too. Because there's absolutely nothing mechanical here today.
That's right. No cars, no trucks, no motorcycles. Ah, yes. For one day and one day only, just the wonderful noise of those good old circus days.
Come on, let's go see some more. Let's welcome these members of the Wisconsin Horse Owners Association, transformed from the day into mounted warriors of the old Ottoman Empire. Dashing, fierce, and colorful, they were famous as the world's most ruthless warriors. Hard to imagine one of these coming home later and saying, "Hey, Ethel, what's for dinner?"
Had a rather natural sound to it. Well, circus wagons were so big and sturdy, they were known as Rocks of Gibraltar. You can see why from this colossal beauty of the old Christie Brothers Circus, dedicated to the continent of Asia. If you look closely when it comes by, you'll be able to pick out the wood carvings of various nations, China, Ceylon, Afghanistan, and others. And riding on top, portraying Asian natives, are ladies of the Baraboo JC. Hi, ladies. Holding up well. This was built in 1902. Believe it or not.
Always a big hit with kids. This bright yellow cage wagon, pulled by ponies, came from the old Terrell Jacobs Circus, and the kids of all ages here in Milwaukee seem to be enjoying it as well.
Is that another leopard?
That's what it looks like to me. He seems a little calmer.
Yeah, that's the way I like them. I like my leopards asleep. Are we watching the leopard, or is the leopard watching us? Very difficult to tell.
I'm just glad he's behind those bars.
Pulled by a half-dozen handsome Clydesdales, this glorious blue, white, and gold tableau wagon called the Seashell Tableau dates back to the early 1900s. And the name comes, of course, from that elegant gold-carved seashell you see on the side. Oh, we have a switch here. Instead of the traditional circus tunes, it's good old Dixieland music played by the Basin Street Saloon Band.
The parade now takes us into the center ring of the circus with these 4 lovely ladies with horses and carts. And believe me, they've come a long way to give us this special performance. Ladies and gentlemen, we give you Joyce Fair, Victorine Pierce, Betty O'Brien, and Marilyn Thomas from the great state of Iowa.
Earl Jacobs Circus cage wagon pulled by 6 cute ponies up next. Now, I'm told there are to be some baboons in the cages. Will there be baboons in the cage?
We shall soon see. There they are.
I think those are baboons. They're owned by Mark Schobel, by the way. They look pretty real, though. Pretty human, that is. I know they're real. Mark could belong to them. You never know. Some baboon watchers.
I think he heard you. By this time, most of you probably know our great circus parade coincides with one of Milwaukee's most famous festivals, Bastille Day, the French counterpart of our Independence Day. So hats off, or should I say berets off, to this fine old wagon carrying a really big French flag. And if we were back at Wheel of Fortune, we'd spell out the famous slogan, Vive la France.
Now, probably the most famous horsemen in history, the Three Musketeers, joining us by way of Baraboo, Wisconsin. Okay, Vanna, a quiz. What are the names of the original Musketeers? I'll give you a hint, not Curly, Moe, and Larry.
Let's see. Athos?
Mm-hmm.
Porthos?
Yeah.
I'd like to try a vowel.
Okay.
I'll try an A.
Yeah, there are 2 A's, first and third letter.
How about an R?
Second letter.
All right, I know it. It's Aramis.
Very good. You win a ceramic duck. Congratulations to you. Now, pulled by 6 fine Belgian horses, this colorful wagon proudly proclaims that it's dedicated to La Belle France. And on the side, the national emblem, and it is done in elaborate scroll work there. And it's going to get a lot of cheers here because this is Bastille Day, of course. Big celebration in Milwaukee. I guess by rights, the circus band on top, led by Lee Corinto, should be playing the French national anthem, but whatever they're playing sounds good to me.
Oui, oui. Let's say hello to Teresa Von Ruden of Juneau, Wisconsin, who's portraying the famous Maid of Orleans, Joan of Arc. Hers was an amazing story when you stop to think about it. First, a simple peasant girl, then a fine military leader, and finally, a saint.
And then I think she went on to Knoxville, if I was somebody else. Normally, these gentlemen are residents of Beaver Dam, New Holstein, and Juneau, Wisconsin, but today, don't they look marvelous in our parade as mounted knights in shining armor, probably seeking to rescue some damsel in distress. Van, if you were a damsel in distress, I would rescue you, believe me.
Oh, that's sweet of you, Pat.
Not serious distress. I'm talking about, a traffic jam or something like that. That's how they carried away.
Thanks.
Warm day to be wearing armor, huh?
Mm-hmm. Often known as circus royalty.
And they should be, too. They do lots of things. In the good old days, horses pulled the heavy parade wagons, struggled with lines of raised poles and lifted tents, and, of course, they were also star performers in the center ring.
Take the Percherons, named after the region in France where they originated, La Perche. And they're very strong, but, they can also be taught to dance or roll a barrel.
Now, Belgians are the champion pullers. They usually win the log pulling contest at county fairs, but they're so gentle, they can be led by a child.
And, of course, the famous Clydesdale, the pride of Scotland, recognized by those fine feathers on their feet. And, they also have heavy hindquarters.
Something you can develop, too, by watching too much television, so watch that.
So, back to our Milwaukee parade and more great circus horses homming down Western Wisconsin Avenue.
We moved
Excuse me.
earlier in the parade.
The South Milwaukee High School Rocket Band from Cudahy, Wisconsin.
of the parade for their great efforts on our behalf. And by all means, the one and only Chappie Fox, world's foremost circus authority.
A romantic scene from the golden age of chivalry. A handsome knight with his lady fair. Wouldn't it have been great to live back there when knighthood was in flower?
Heck yeah, I think I'd be a good one.
It is one of the most spectacular parade vehicles ever built. The red wagon body is trimmed in gold and white, but the enormous wood-carved two-headed dragon is painted green. That's what you just saw.
I like it.
There it is.
You know, two-headed dragons are the rarest dragons, by the way. I looked that up, too.
Mr. Clown.
Well, it looks and feels as if all of Milwaukee and surrounding areas turned out for this parade with some of the happy faces looking on. You know, in circuses of the old days, a small cage wagon like this was called a cross cage. Not because the animal was mad inside. This kind of wagon was shorter than the railroad flat car was wide, so it could be loaded crossways between the bigger wagons. That leopard, by the way, belongs to William Woodcock of Baraboo, Wisconsin. Looks like to be William's paper boy. Know what they're pulling. There's a leopard in there, guys. Know it.
Say, you folks at home, call the rest of the family to come have a look at this huge, fascinating wagon. And its name is just as impressive. Let's see if I can get this right. The Circus Melicor.
Well, who's going to know if you're wrong?
The Golden Voice Orchestra, the Golden Voice Organ of Vienna. In the original Barnum and London Circus of 1882, it carried that marvelous portable organ, unfortunately long since removed. But we do have music from the Gilmore Brothers of Baraboo, playing bagpipes. Circus fans all over about Barnum and Bailey, but everybody knows who Barnum and Bailey is, but who's Hutchinson? He was the third partner who they proudly paraded the stunning cage wagon almost 90 years ago. Today it's being shown with the sides closed. It's a rolling museum of the woodcarver's art. If you ever found one of those masterpieces in an antique shop, you'd have to dig deep in your pocket to claim it. But today, for one day only, we bring it and much, much more to you free.
When you think of the age of some of these vehicles, it's just amazing how they've been cared for and restored and how beautiful they look.
Look at all that color on those wheels.
Must be Emmy time coming up. Do my ears deceive me, or do I hear the big, impressive Lincoln Way Community High School marching band? They have marched all the way in from New Lenox, Illinois. In the circus, every parade was very carefully planned, from the first bandwagon with its come-on music to the last calliope that led a crowd to the circus tent.
And keeping a parade going smoothly wasn't easy either. We came across an old set of rules laid out by one circus owner way back in 1904.
Now, this is true. this is legitimate. We looked this up. A quote here: if any vehicle breaks down, pull aside, fix it, and get back in place. Don't ever stop the parade. Also a rule that wagon drivers must be clean-shaven with boots polished. I think that goes for commentators, too. No smoking and no chewing. What else?
Let's see. It also says bands must always play. No stalling and no meshing with pretty girls along the way.
They must have known their musicians even then, huh? So watch out for the next bandwagon, though.
Never mind. Let's get back to the parade.
If a contestant on our show, Wheel of Fortune, came up with this word, he'd probably lose. Ready? The word is liger.
Liger? What is liger?
Excellent question. The very rare animal riding in this cage. That's what it is. It's a cross between a lion and a tiger. So we get liger. Could have been a tigan, but we got liger. Also, a very talented lady riding in there from the Carson and Barnes Circus. That was Patricia White you saw.
Back in the heyday of the American circus, everyone had its Wild West show. And here today, we're meeting again some of those exciting performers.
Two banner carriers you've been seeing. They're from the West Allis, Wisconsin Western days. And we're going to see the mounted team from Milwaukee called the Equestronauts. Now, if a rider gets way high off his horse, he'd become what?
An astronaut?
Very good. This outstanding bandwagon originally came not from a circus, but from the famous Pawnee Bill Wild West show at the turn of the century. Notice the carved buffalo heads on each corner fitting the Western theme, and the elaborately carved tableau on the sides. One side shows Columbus discovering America, and the other side, you'll have to take my word on this, we have the thrilling scene of the Indian maiden Pocahontas saving the life of Captain John Smith. And all this is topped off by the colorful music of Arthur Zenz and his circus band.
That must have made little kids grab their parents' hands and back away during an old circus parade. As you'll see, coming up on the side is the famous Charging Bull tableau wagon from Hagenbeck Wallace, one of the fine shows that unfortunately went out of business back in 1938.
3D and stereo.
Riding on top, as you can see, are some truly original Americans, descendants of several Wisconsin Indian tribes.
The challenges here is pronouncing some of the community names. A lot of them have Indian names. They're very colorful. And now you're going to meet members of the United Indians of Milwaukee. They're wearing authentic costumes of various Wisconsin tribes that include the Sauk, the Fox, and the Winnebago. During the best years of the American circuses, Indians always played prominent parts in their traditional Wild West shows.
The Dakota Marching Indians from Dakota, Illinois.
Originated?
From the circus, of course. The bandwagon was always first in every parade, and you had to be good to get on it.
That's right. Bandwagons were big enough to hold up to 20 men. They were men then, all men. And what a tough job for a musician. Holes in the road, jolted their wagons, could split their lips, even knock out some teeth.
Can you imagine Doc Severinsen smiling like Leon Spink?
For some reason, I can imagine that. I don't know why. Clowns were often hired, too, if they could play a musical instrument. Why? Well, to use another circus expression, so they could double in brass.
Time for us to double back into the great circus parade. riding out of the past from the Old West.
We have a mounted man there and an Indian maiden and 2 U.S. cavalrymen. Oh, wait a minute. I think that, let me have a look here. I think it actually was 1 cavalryman and 1 cavalry woman, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's better. This is the New West.
There she is. I'm not sure what is on that man's head, but I'm not going to run out and buy one. It is a beautiful day here in Milwaukee and a beautiful parade, which continues now with a rare treat for everybody, but especially circus buffs. It's a sight and sound that always announced to the whole town, the circus is coming. This wagon carries an unusual instrument called the air calliope. Now this, I'd be laughed out of town by the circus people. They call it callio, so that's what we'll do here. It's made of 43 individually tuned whistles, much like old train whistles. They were not sounded by steam, but really by compressed air. Now, it can be played manually. That's what's happening now, by air pumped through a perforated paper roll like a player piano.
This beauty of an Overland stagecoach always played the star part in the Circus Wild West shows from 1883 to 1940. The drama was always the same. An attack on the passengers in the mail by outlaws or Indians. Then just before disaster struck, a bugle sounded and the U.S. cavalry dashed up and saved the day.
Unfortunately, the cavalry passed about 20 minutes ago, so it doesn't look good for the wagon right now. The great old Hagenbeck Wallace Circus had some unusual cage wagons like this one. It's a 3-arched beauty. They had sliding doors at both front and back ends so that when all were lined up, they became one long chute that wild animals could move through into the steel caged arena where they performed. There they are, 3 bears. They've apparently eaten Goldilocks. And they belong to Mark Schobel of Neshboro, Wisconsin. Superstation WTBS is bringing you the Great Circus Parade here in Milwaukee, the first time a parade has ever been presented in stereo sound. Well, they don't make them like that anymore. That expression gets new meaning from this spectacular bandwagon with glittering gold carvings and sparkling mirrors, built way back in 1879, if you can believe it. After the Toll Brothers Circus closed in 1939, it was saved from the ravages of vandals and the weather by Carson Perry Scott, a Chicago department store. And that great circus band you hear on top from the old Mapleton Circus is led by Ms. Gail Pierce. Over 100 years old. You know, these bandwagons, as you mentioned earlier, really were an advertising tool to get the people out to the circus. Now we can just sit back and enjoy.
We've been talking so much about circuses of the past. The fact is, many are still alive and well and touring America. For instance, Parson and Barnes of Hugo, Oklahoma, playing right now in Milwaukee and sending us these fine equestrians, dressed in their beautiful bright colors. That's a pretty color, pink, of course, my favorite color.
Pink is your favorite?
Yes, it is.
Things you learn about your co-workers here. Mine is gray. I don't know what that says about me. Folks, if you are enjoying the parade, let everybody know at WTBS. We would love to hear from you. Just write to Skip Carey, WTBS.
Look at these shots. Everybody enjoying the parade. Oh, isn't that sweet?
These are the faces of Milwaukee.
Everyone of all ages can enjoy this parade.
So you can't pose for these pictures.
Wonder what he's looking at.
Wonder what he's eating. That picture's moving. Oh, let's go back live.
There's a smile.
You know, you never know. In the summer in the Midwest, thunderstorms pop up from time to time. But boy, you couldn't ask for a better day than this. It is beautiful. It is sunny. It is breezy. And the folks are having a great time with the Circus Parade.
I'm having a great time, too.
Yeah. Some more circus folks in this beautiful carriage. This traveling circus is out of Hugo, Oklahoma. Carson and Barnes is the name of the circus. 5-ring big top setup right now in Milwaukee. They're giving 2 performances a day this weekend. Low price admissions for young and old. And by the way, all those proceeds will go directly to the Circus World Museum.
If you were a circus performer, how would you like to have this billing? A blood-sweating behemoth of the River Nile.
No, thank you.
Well, that's just what this star of the Carson and Barnes Circus is called, riding in all the splendor of a specially built old din wagon from the Cole Brothers Circus. Bay windows are built into each side so the animals can turn around, and some circuses boasted that they had several of these big beasts.
That is a hippopotamus in there. Oh, yeah.
Yes, it is.
I have a question for you. What's the plural of hippopotamus?
Well, that's easy. Hippos.
The animals think this is a people parade. He's kind of cute. More music from Brookfield, Wisconsin, the Billy Mitchell Scottish Pipes and Drums. The Menominee Falls Saddle Club brings us a romantic scene from the ancient past. 10 mounted knights of the Crusaders. There are also 2 mounted outriders there, and if you're wondering what an outrider is...
Yes, I am wondering.
And even if you're not, here's what it is. It's an equestrian with special duties. He has to be ready at all times to help calm down a bucking horse or something like that. Also, he's free to take care of any kind of other trouble that might develop along the way. And in a parade, you never know.
Circuses as each owner tried to outdo the other.
That's right. Way back in 1848, one circus paraded a 40-horse hitch to a wagon. 10 rows of 4 horses side by side. Look at the poor driver with all those reins in his hand.
Actually, back in 1972, it was repeated in this very parade. One of the most sensational sights from Ringling Brothers was a team of 16 camels hitched to a wagon.
Camels, by the way, are rated the most obstinate and bulky beasts, and they can kick sideways. Sounds like my agent, actually.
Of course, the sensation of all time came when the Ringling Brothers bought out Barnum and Bailey.
He's listening intently to our story. Now get this, they paid an extra $100,000 just for use of the title, The Greatest Show on Earth.
Wow. Right now we're watching the greatest parade on Earth here in Milwaukee, so come join us.
Is pulled by 6 big Belgian horses. Its unusual bandwagon sides are covered with mirrors. The flashing effect adds to the colorful vehicle as it rolls down the street in a parade. Plus, you get a chance to check your makeup in it, which is another advantage. Those clowns you saw on top, by the way, are Mel Circus Clown Band. Their motto, music to make a fool of yourself playing. Place to do it, right? On a circus bandwagon in Milwaukee on Circus Day. Kitty, 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 kitty.
Here's one of the most massive cage wagons ever built. 15 feet long, 8.5 feet wide, 11 feet high, and it weighs more than 4 tons. The cage has 3 steel mesh partitions that slide out for unloading the animals right into the arena for the big top. Then the fun begins. These 3 African lions may be good friends, but the partitions stay in place all during the parade, just in case. First, friends, notice these huge, powerful horses called Shires. They're somewhere in there. There they are. Originally, they came from England and are believed to be descended from war horses that carried those heavily armored knights. Now the special leopard cage wagon, specially built with bars placed close together to keep that lightning-fast leopard from reaching out its paws and injuring parade watchers. And don't miss the fascinating carvings on each side of the wagon. He looks relaxed.
He was just sitting there wondering what the Braves did today. I guess he missed the game. Something that you're looking at now. Most Midwestern circus crowds in the old days really had never seen a dolphin, I suppose. But here was their chance to admire this golden beauty on top of a real gem of an old English tableau wagon. Along with other exquisite carvings, it has some dozen mirrors flashing in the sun. It is a beauty. Small and very narrow, though. Its top tier telescopes down into the main body of the wagon. And again, that's so they could avoid low tree branches and telephone wires and stuff like that. I don't know what happened to the driver. I guess you weren't allowed to wear a toupee.
Here we have the D.C. Everest High School Marching Band of Schofield, Wisconsin.
It's got to be a thrill for these young people to travel and come here for a big parade like this. The streets lined with really hundreds of thousands of people along the route. And they're very proud, and they should be. They sound good, too. an exciting day for us. Aside from being at the parade, this is the first time you and I have ever been on the air in stereo. Which speaker do you want?
I'll take the one on the right.
All right. In fact, Superstation WTBS is bringing you this great circus parade here in Milwaukee. The first time a parade has ever been presented in stereo sound.
Sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah. Continues with a great team of 6 Belgian horses pulling this Hagenbeck Wallace 2-arch cage wagon. Really, nothing less can do the job because this is a biggie. One of the most massive wagons ever built, weighs 4.5 tons, I am told. That does not include the cougars inside. They are in separate cages. It strikes me as a good idea. During parades, by the way, the trainer very often rode along with the animals. We will assume he did not ride along with them today.
Now to the turn of the century, a golden beauty from the children's section of Barnum and Bailey's original Greatest Show on Earth, built in the mid-1880s. Mother Goose, of course, riding her favorite feathered friend. She's got a broom raised over her head as if she's going to hit somebody.
I suspect it's Father Goose. That would be my guess. Parade, but the crowd very enthusiastic. Boy, they should be. Some real beauties coming by, including this one, this bandwagon that's really different. It carried what was called a band organ, a mechanical instrument activated by a perforated paper roll like a piano. And it actually produces the sound of several band instruments. You can get bells out of that, reed pipes, xylophones, drums, cymbals.
I can hear them all. Wisconsin Western Days. Holding the American flag. With a touch of nostalgia in your voice, whatever happened to Circus Parade?
Well, a lot of things, actually. Not particularly good. The size of towns got bigger, the parade routes longer, the circus tents farther away, and the people wound up too tired to perform.
Cobblestone streets were paved with asphalt, so heavy wagon wheels sank in and couldn't move. Police complained it tied up traffic for the whole city.
And, of course, during the Depression, lots of circuses simply went broke and closed. These beautiful wagons were pushed out into fields where they were burned or rotted and decayed.
But thanks to the Wisconsin State Historical Society, many of the best have been restored and can be seen at the Baraboo Circus Museum. I've been there, and I was enthralled.
You told me you were enthralled. I remember that. So if you miss the old circus parades, be sure not to miss the museum. And let's not miss this group.
Turn back the pages of history now to the Revolutionary War days with this charming fife and drum corps. These musicians are actually members of the United States Infantry stationed at Fort Myer, Virginia. Their uniforms are patterned after those of Washington's Continental Army. Black-cocked hat, waistcoat, colonial overalls.
And they're a good-looking group, too. Now it's time for Our Country, a blue and gold tableau wagon pulled by 6 sturdy Belgian horses, an exact replica of one built by Barnum and Bailey in 1903. You'll recognize 6 presidents up there: Washington, Lincoln, Grant, Roosevelt, and Cleveland. Well, maybe you won't recognize Cleveland, but some of the others. Of course, that was the goddess of liberty sitting up there as well. This is an impressive group here. 10 big Belgian horses tugging away. And I'll tell you, when you see all those horses, you know it's going to be something really big back there. A big bandwagon. This elegant beauty came from one of the most famous circus men in history, James Bailey. The band on top is famous, too, especially here in Milwaukee. Dick Strauss and his Many Happy Returns Orchestra, 15 musicians strong. And what a bandwagon they're sitting on. 22 feet long, 5 tons. Color guard is next. There's nothing more American, I think, than circuses. You get that feeling out here. There is a great feeling of patriotism in the air. It may be Bastille Day and it may be Circus Parade, but folks are thinking a lot about this country, too. You see a lot of flags in the crowd and in the parade.
This float is moving proudly along Wisconsin Avenue here in Milwaukee with replicas of the original American flag flying in front and a famous lady patriot riding in back. In history, of course, it was the other way around. Betsy Ross, the seamstress and heroine of the birth of our nation, came first. Who are we to be needling, anyway?
You're allowed one of those per parade, and that was yours. About an exciting sound here. Semper Fidelis, that's the famous motto of the Marine Corps. It means always faithful. And here they are, the 4th Marine Aircraft Wing Band, based in New Orleans. I have a hunch they have played in a parade or two through the years. What a great sound.
In our great circus parade. Washington crossing the Delaware. The McConkey's Ferry was often portrayed like this in the patriotic section of the old circus parade.
Let's welcome and enjoy one of the finest outfits in our armed forces, the United States Coast Guard Honor Guard, from its station at Alexandria, Virginia. Air Force band from Chanute Field, Illinois, coming up. It's really a versatile group. And there they are. They'll be playing at the Bastille Day Festival, an annual street fair here in Milwaukee. What is the name of this? Milwaukee is one of my favorite places, honoring the French version of our Independence Day, of course. And that's not all they'll be doing. One part of the band will play top 40, country, western, and rhythm and blues. Another unit becomes the pace setters to play jazz and old big band favorites. I don't know what they do with their spare time.
The great lady herself in a living replica, the Statue of Liberty, and carrying the same great message, from every mountainside, let freedom ring.
Who is that lady?
That lady is Robine Martin. She's the former Miss France.
Hello, Robine. She never returns my calls.
From its home in Madison, Wisconsin, representing the United States Army, here's the Wisconsin National Guard Band.
Take a look at this magnificent vehicle coming down the street. Fine tableau wagon named for the Golden Twin.
On July 4th, 1939, Yankee Stadium was the backdrop as Lou Gehrig
Dates back 150 years to the Sir Robert Fawcett Circus, the oldest circus in England.
been looking at these beautiful bandwagons and all these other great vehicles, and you almost lose track of how fine those horses look and how they're all rigged up, too, and the beautiful mounts and the beautiful way they've been fixed up. This is a great, great parade.
Yes, it is. I will second that. If you were planning this great circus parade and somebody said, why don't we include some llamas, what would you do? Answer, sure thing. And the parade officials borrowed them from their friends. 6 from George Chester of Milwaukee and 3 from the Carson and Barnes Circus, playing right here this weekend. She's having a lot of fun.
How can you ride a llama and not have fun? How can you ride a llama?
The Marinette Marching Mariners from Marinette, Wisconsin. Yes, the Mariners have landed, 130 strong. So let's have some music. American circuses, the size and importance of any given show was determined by the number of elephants it owned. Well, today in Milwaukee, we are parading a herd of 11 elephants. There's 11 there. 6 of these...
Count them here. Hang on. 1, 2... Well, I don't have time. Go ahead.
Okay, trust me. 6 of these beautifully costumed animals belong to the Carson and Barnes Circus, and 5 belong to Tony Diano's Buckeye Circus of Canton, Ohio. The star is Big Tommy, the Titan Tusker of the circus world.
They all look big to me.
They sure do.
And they're all names. Susie and Minnie and Bunny and Libby. Sneezy, Dopey, and Grumpy.
They have such sweet faces.
Yeah.
That face.
I think he's cute, huh? Well, I guess he is. To another elephant. Well, we promised you something special at the end here, and we've been waiting for it, and here it is. This big, beautiful Cole Brothers wagon with its steam calliope. Oh, excuse me, circus people, calliope. This being played by Herbie Head of Detroit. In the old circus days, the calliope always came at the end of the parade as a kind of Pied Piper leading crowds to the show tent. And no wonder this raucous, blaring sound could be heard for 5 miles. The crew had a player who pulled those brake handles and opened and closed the whistles, and a fireman who stoked the fire to build up steam in the boiler. We got too much steam, though. Kaboom! And that could be heard for about 20 miles. That thing. What a sound. Well, friends, that is it. I am sorry to say, for the Great Circus Parade of 1985. It has really been a pleasure and privilege for us to help bring it your way from Milwaukee.
Vanishing vistas and how to hang on to them is the basic purpose of the Circus World Museum in Baraboo, Wisconsin. Sad how quickly... I'm so sad.
It is sad.
Vistas do vanish these days.
But you know what? We're doing our part here, at least we're trying to help preserve one part of our American heritage. Hope we manage to do that a little bit.
Yeah. Now for Pat Sajak and me, Vanna White, may the great Wheel of Fortune spin you good luck.
Nice plug. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
The 22nd Annual Great Circus Parade has been brought to you by Nuprin from Bristol-Myers. True Value Hardware. The more you've got to do, the more you need True Value Hardware stores. We've got what it takes. And by Cable News Network and CNN Headline News.
Bye.